Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. This is pour day. This is the fun part, but it's only fun when the preparation's good. If the preparation's not good, then the pouring's not very much fun. It's a struggle then. But since I did the prep, it's going to be a fun pour. There's the fiber mesh I like to throw in. I happen to have that available on my storefront through my website also. Here's some of that Mobile One 100% synthetic. Good up to 12,000 miles too, by the way. I'm getting a few more miles out of it right now. And I'm using it to treat this wood and preserve it. Also use it as a bond breaker, as well as the wheelbarrow. So this is a 3250 PSI straight cement, also known as a city mix, because they don't want fly ash in the mixes on city property or county or state. I especially like the fiber mesh in pea gravel mixes. I'm not so concerned with fiber mesh in a big rock mix, but I think the fiber really helps on a pea gravel mix. Because you have more shrinkage. As you can see, the water ratio is a little different than your big rock, and fiber mesh is really designed for shrinkage, cracking. The steel reinforcement, or in this case the fiberglass rod reinforcement, is your structural component. Using a wood bowl float. That's a 4-foot wide wood bowl float. We're putting this down stiff. You can see how when the concrete comes out of the pump, it's not really flowing. It's just staying just how it is. So that means we're probably at about a 4.5 inch slump here, which is optimal for concrete. The biggest thing you can do to hurt concrete is put too much water in it. So the least amount of water that you can use and still make it workable is the best. Now we're running it the other direction, the bowl float. We're going magnesium now. So we got the woody in one direction. Now we changed over to the magnesium. When you run your all your tools in different directions like this, you're getting a flatter surface. That particular bowl float has a little twist rocker on it, which means you can adjust the angle while still in motion. Now we're going with Big Blue here, and that's a 3-foot. It's real similar to a Fresno, but it's just a wider model. That also has that rocker on it, so you can change the angle while you're in motion. And I think right there just dug in, and you're not really supposed to do that. It's supposed to stay up on top. But it happens all the time. Now we're just going to lay out some joints here. We're going to cut all the joints perpendicular to the house, but we're going to also run a parallel line down the middle, and that one we're going to saw cut because it's such a long run. I can get it a lot straighter with a saw cut. So we'll have two different types of joints here. To start with, we got the 6-foot cutter joiner, which goes down 2 inches deep, really breaks the aggregate down. I mean, once you run that 2-inch deep joint, what you have is a area it's going to crack even if you fill it back in, because the rock is separated in that area. Now, if you notice what he's doing with that measuring tape right there, he just used the 3-4-5 method off the form, and he was able, because of the joiner so long, and you go out there 5 foot diagonally, you put a mark, you cross that over with your 4 foot mark, you can line up your joiner and it's perfectly square off the form before you run it. Real sweet and simple technique. Now this concrete has a lot of bleed water in it. The reason for that is we have a really solid, tight base, so everything's got to come up. Now we've got all the woodies going wild out there, and followed up with the funny trowel behind them. Here's your final joint right here. That's a 1/2 inch radius, 3/4 deep. I'm going to go down the side yard because this area is kind of crucial. So I want to make sure that everything's going to the drain. So I've got a level with me. I've got the 4 foot level, and basically I'm going to go down and cut around these drains in a circle and double check all the elevations. We're just going to do a broom texture on this, a non-slip broom finish. You can see underneath the threshold some of the stucco popped out, and that's pretty standard on these houses. They didn't do pop outs at the doors in the foundation for the threshold, which a lot of the newer foundations, they do that. You'll get a pop out where the doors are going to go, so your entire threshold is supported by the foundation. So the side yard shaped up real nicely. Now on your next pass, all you have to do is touch it up, dress it up, make it look pretty. We have that expansion foam on the wall, so we're going to run an edge along that. That helps carry the water out too. Here's a 50% horsehair, 50% nylon broom. My favorite broom, actually. I've got a new adapter. My guy Juan screwed this adapter on there. That way I don't have to screw into the wood. It's always on there, so it has a slip adapter now. So I'm going to get a lot more use out of this broom before the threads are strepped on the wood. Because I have the fiber mesh in there, whenever you put fiber mesh into concrete, you really can't put a lot of water on the surface to broom, because it drags up the fiber, it balls it up. And so dry broom is best. And also the surface is stronger when you integrate water into the surface via the broom, or spraying water on the surface and brooming it in. You're actually weakening that top surface by putting the water in there and then working the broom into the surface. You end up with a subpar surface basically. That's going to scratch a lot easier and ding, stuff like that. When you go dry broom, you're getting a harder surface. Here's what it kind of looks like the day after. I mean, this is the same day we just poured it, but the following day we'll strip the form, we'll run a saw cut all the way down the middle. The whole patio slopes to the backyard and hits 2 drain locations in the planter bed. Matter of fact, the outside perimeter of the patio slopes towards the drains as well. So the whole yard, even though it's not visible, it moves in one direction. So we snapped the blue line versus the red line. Blue line, you can wash off. The red line, you can't. So you always want to you never want to use red on top of concrete unless you're not going to ever see it. And then it's okay. Here's the hand tool joints we used right on the center of these drains. And this is kind of what I like to do on these. That way there's no standing water in these joints. Just cut through the drain below the top of the grate. And then the water can, drop right into the drain below the grate. That way you never have standing water, which is nice. There's your cut. You can see how straight that is. That Medusa from Skillsaw runs really beautifully and tracks straight. Yeah, all the white spots in it and the discolorations here and there. Concrete's going to cure out. It's going to take about, probably for all the same color, about 45 to 90 days, and it should be all one color at that point. There's an atrium drain that I installed, and then there's one more in the other planter bed. Downspout adapter, 2 area drains on the side yard, all connected to the front drain, which goes through the curb into the street. From the chimney on out, we have straight slope through the gate. No drain. That's where the AC is going to set. AC is temporarily removed to get a good base. Now it can go back in and they're ready to go. Alright, that about wraps up this 2-part series. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you're interested to see how we got to this point of pour day, go to part 1. Have a good day. Subscribe and like.